Rickey Henderson, last year's American League MVP, down at second base. He's going. Here comes the throw. He's got it.
Congratulations, Rickey Henderson.
Lou Brock was a symbol of great base stealing. But today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Welcome to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World. Joining us via NTT Home Plate Cam, we got Harold Reynolds and Dan Plesac. I'm Fran Charles. Guys, that is one of the greatest moments and greatest sound bites of all time in baseball history. Rickey Henderson breaking the stolen base record held by Lou Brock. Harold, the only player ever in Major League Baseball to have 1,000 or more steals, and he shattered it. He's got to 1,406.
Yeah, I remember, I didn't know till many years later talking to Rickey, he was a big Muhammad Ali fan. So he wanted to go ahead and take Ali-ism, so to speak, and throw it in there with the Lou Brock deal. But I go back with Rickey so many years, and I know, Dan, we faced him for a number of years. Just on the defensive side, I'd be at second base, Fran, holding like a first baseman, and he'd say, Rickey, get ready to run now. You can't stop Rickey. Rickey gone. And sure enough, you couldn't stop him. I mean, he was amazing with stuff he did. Well, I'm curious, as a pitcher, Dan, the fear he put into you guys.
Harold, I can tell you this. I didn't have the best move at first base, but Rickey was on second base one time, and I did that inside move, right? And I came up and I spun around, and he took off. And Harold, I committed the sin that you don't want to do as a pitcher. I ran right at Rickey with the ball in my hand, and he gave me that juke move, and I almost fell down, and he made it into third base. Felt like a complete dork, man. I felt like I was that big. Rickey juked me.
Fran, I tell you, my most famous story that I talk about all the time, people probably heard it, but I just have to go back and share it on this momentous day with Rickey. In the 80s, he was the stolen base champion all the way through the 80s, and I won in 87, the only person in the 80s outside of Rickey Henderson. And he was averaging 100 steals a year. I mean, it was ridiculous. So the final day of the season, I have 59, Willie Wilson has 59. I steal a bag, I win the title with 60 stolen bases. Now, Rickey had got injured that year, and he had, I think, 35 by May. That's just how great he was. So I get a phone call the next day. It was the last day of the season. Next day, we get back home to Seattle. I get a phone call. I answer the phone. Hello, this is Henderson here. I said, hey, what's up, Rickey? I'm thinking he's going to congratulate me, right? He goes, 60 stolen bases? You ought to be ashamed. Rickey, have that at the All-Star break. Click. Hung up. That was my greeting.
Unbelievable. The guy's built like a tank. You think he could still play today. All right, let's get to some news here. And this is something that we probably anticipated coming. The 2020 National Baseball Hall of Fame ceremonies will be postponed until 2021. So this is the quote from Jane Forbes Clark, the chairman of the National Baseball Hall of Fame Museum. And heeding the advice of government officials as well as federal, state, and local medical and scientific experts, we chose to act with extraordinary caution in making this decision. The board of directors has decided that the class of 2020 will be inducted and the 2020 award winners will be honored as part of next summer's Hall of Fame weekend taking place July 23rd through 26th in 2021. And Harold, the captain, Derek Jeter, and Larry Walker are going to have to wait a year, but they are Hall of Famers, and this makes perfect sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at what's going on, there's so much uncertainty, and this is one of those events you want to make sure that you're able to have people there. You know, people were buying homes and selling homes up in Cooperstown or renting their home out because we're going to have such a huge crowd. So to put it back another year, it's sad for the inductees, but I understand the importance of doing this.
I mean, could you imagine what it would have been like with all the locals here, the New York metro area, to go and see Derek Jeter and Larry Walker complete, for where Larry Walker. But the world that we live in right now, I think it's a little bit easier for us to accept this right now. 4 or 5 weeks ago, when this climate with the COVID-19, we all weren't sure what the normal was going to be, but it will be a beautiful experience in the summer of 2021.
All right, now to some news on a player who we believe has a great chance of making the Hall of Fame, Yadier Molina. Now, 2020 was supposed to be the final year of his 3-year deal, and then Yadi had said he'd love to potentially play one more year. But now, with the COVID-19 pandemic taking place, Marlene Rivera of ESPN, she spoke to Molina, and he said, look, I previously said if I wasn't with St. Louis, I would go home. If we were unable to come to an extension agreement, I would retire. But the situation with this pandemic has changed everything. Right now, I'm thinking of playing 2 more years. Obviously, St. Louis is my first option, but if they don't sign me, then I'm willing to go into free agency. This situation has changed my mentality, and all I want to do is play. And so, Dan, now we have players, based on what's taking place right now from a health perspective, they're kind of changing their mentality about what their future looks like.
And a guy like Yadier Molina, let's face it, he's a legend in St. Louis Cardinals baseball history. And I think a lot of players, particularly the veteran players, Harold, are looking at this with a lost April and a lost May. You're not going to have that 6-7 month grind that you normally have that starts in spring training. Now, this is going to be a different year. It's going to be interesting for me, Harold, to see how players start and stop 2 times. They've got the spring training. They've just about gotten into game shape. They've had to shut it down, and then they're going to have to do this all over again. I think that's going to be the main issue. But the shorter schedule, I'm thinking that a lot of the older players, they're going to welcome the shorter schedule.
Well, Dan, you've been through shutdowns, so have I, through lockouts, strikes, you name it. And you learn your whole work regimen is totally different. And we've been shut down a few times, and I realized I don't need 6 weeks of spring training. I may need only 2 or 3. And I think players are going to understand what they need to get ready. You start taking a little more ownership and understanding of what you need to do to get ready and be productive. And you'll see that not only with Yadi's case, but a lot of other players are sitting there thinking, man, I just saved basically a full year on my life. I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit longer. So we'll see. But the last thing I'll end with this, Fran, it's positive to hear him saying, I just want to play. Because we've heard a lot of players saying, I don't want to play. I'm not going to go out in this situation. It's good to hear him saying, I just want to play.
All right. Yadier Molina clearly thought of one of the best catchers in all of baseball, one of the best players in all of baseball, Albert Pujols. So we're going to celebrate his milestone of racking 3,000 hits May 4th. That's Monday. It's a 2-year anniversary. So we got Albert Pujols Day on the network, and you're going to get to see a lot of his Major League big-time highlights. But first up, just here's mad respect from his peers about what they think about number 5.
All right, let's talk about Albert Pujols real quick. What do you like in his game?
So where do you want me to start?
Playing with Albert is just it's another amazing experience for me personally.
I just take anything I can from that guy.
He hits for average, he hits for power, doesn't strike out.
He do a lot for the Cardinals. Albert Pujols is one of the best guy that we can follow.
He does everything.
Amazing career for that man. Such a special person on and off the field. Always somebody willing to help you out. Definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind and the minds of pretty much every player who's played.
And playing near guys like Albert Pujols, you can't help but grow as a hitter with time when you're around that kind of talent.
It's preparation and, the person he is. He doesn't matter if he, gets out 4 times or hit, 4 home runs. He's the same person. He'll always pick you up. Always, for me, can call him any time of the night, any time of the day. Not even baseball, just in life in general, just being a friend. He's, special to have.
Much more on Albert coming up later in the show. And then there were 2. We're down to the finals of the MLB Dream Bracket. The Yankees will take on the Reds. A deep dive into that next.
MLB Tonight is presented by Camping World, making RVing fun and easy since 1966. Visit campingworld.com today.
Welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World. The MLB Dream Bracket, presented by DraftKings, down to the final 2. Our own Scotty Braun and John Morosi have been on the mic for most of these games. They've been streaming across MLB Network's social channels and MLB.com. Down to the final 2, Reds and Yankees. Let's take a look now at some of the highlights from today's semifinal games between the Red Sox and Yanks and the Reds and Dodgers. Scotty?
Welcome, everyone, to the MLB Dream Bracket presented by DraftKings and powered by Out of the Park Baseball 21. Scott Braun and JP Morosi with you for the action. The Boston Red Sox matching up with the New York Yankees in the Bronx right now. Mickey Mantle, the 4-time AL home run leader. 0-1 offering coming. It's a curveball hammered. And he's done it. A 2-run blast by the Mick. And they lead it 2-0 in the 6th. Call to the bullpen for Babe Ruth to take over for Cy Young. Still a 2-0 ball game. No. Yes, a pitching change. Craig Kimbrell coming in to take over for Babe Ruth. There goes your Ruth matchup.
This could be Ruth and Ruth right here.
And that's a swing and a drive. And this will be his tournament-leading 11th long ball by the time it lands. 3-0 Yankees in the 8th.
They're on their feet here, Scott.
And there will be an all-time Game 7 in the Bronx.
I cannot wait to see whose all-time best is best here in this historic, iconic baseball rivalry.
Here's 3-hitter Babe Ruth. He turns on a 2-2 fastball. That's headed towards the bullpen, and it's not coming back. It's the 3rd inning at Yankee Stadium. White Evans going the opposite way. That's got distance. That's gone. We are tied. Here comes Derek Jeter. Yankees leading by a run. And that's going to plate at least one. Call him Mr. May. Berra comes zooming in, and it's 4-1 New York. And the Red Sox are down to their final chance. That's Mattingly at first. And the Yankees will rep the American League in the final round. Cincinnati Reds and the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Reds lead the series 3-2. It is Game 6 at Chavez Ravine. Let's play ball. Here comes one of the big RBI men for Cincinnati. It's Joey Votto. Up the chute, Rose racing around. The Reds have a run before an out is recorded. And Pee Wee Reese steps up, lifted to center, and over Davis's head. That's gonna tie the game. A 3-2 count to Frank Robinson. And he delivers. Morgan's flying home. It's an RBI single for Robinson. George Foster likes the first pitch, and that's gonna put the Reds in front by 3. Last licks in the 9th. Dibble deals. The heater flies by him, and the Reds are soaring into the championship. Now we have an all-time team representing each league. The Reds will battle the Yankees for all-time MLB honors. I'm Scott Braun. Keep dreaming, and we'll see you for the championship round.
All right, guys. So Harold, Dan, and Fran back with you on MLB Tonight. All right, Danny. So you got the oldest professional franchise in baseball history, the Reds, taking on the winningest professional franchise in MLB history, the Yankees. How do you see this one shaping up?
Fran, this is a clash of the Titans, but I think when it's all said and done, we're going to hear John Sterling say, "Season over, Dream Bracket over, Yankees win. The Yankees win!"
Dan, that was so good. You had me at the. But I'm telling you, let's look at some of these lineups real quick. I think the Reds are the team to beat here. I mean, the lineups are incredible. Look at the names in there. But you get to the thick of the Reds lineup, I mean, I may as well start at the top, talking about the thick. But golly, the only name people may not know is the DH. And Ted hit 45 home runs one year. So this is a stacked lineup. The Yankees speak for themselves, but I like the Reds in this matchup.
All right, Dan, give it to me one more time before we go, just a little bit.
Which the John Sterling version? The Yankees win!
Unbelievable, great stuff. All right, let's wait. You can see the final here. Yankees taking on the Reds. You can check out every game of the Reds-Yankees final Monday and Tuesday starting at 3 p.m. Eastern. Just go to twitch.tv/MLB Network, MLB.com, or the Reds and Yankees websites to see how it unfolds. Well, we all know how Pujols' career has unfolded. Pujols certainly will be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Up next, The Machine spent some time with Harold, talks about his first week in the big leagues. That's that.
The MLB Dream Bracket, presented by DraftKings, wouldn't be as fun without a little competition. Head to DraftKings and compete for thousands in prizes for free by playing in daily pools throughout the tournament, where you'll answer questions like, what team will win, player performances, and more. MLB Tonight is brought to you by GoDaddy. All the help and tools you need to be online. Start now at GoDaddy.com.
Coming up Saturday on Play Ball, we celebrate the legendary career of Albert Pujols. In this sneak peek, Albert tells Harold all about his first week in the bigs.
Albert Pujols.
What's up, my boy?
You doing good, man?
Doing great. Can't complain, man.
Going a big fly for Albert Pujols. Get out of here! That is hammered out the left. Drive home safely. That, folks, is the machine.
Before you were superhuman and put together this crazy resume, I want to take us back. So I want to go back to young Albert Pujols. So let's go back to like 5 years old Albert Pujols. How'd you get into baseball? What was the family life like?
I started my age when I was like 5 years old, you know, just growing up. I come from a big family. They're all pretty much athletic. The women's play volleyball and softball. My grandpa, my dad, my uncles, they all play baseball and play sports. So it was really easy for me to just walk into the sport of baseball. And plus, you know, born and raised in the Dominican Republic, I mean, that's pretty much the main sport.
2001 opening day, young Albert Pujols, 13th round draft pick a year earlier, standing on the lines of the introductions on opening day. What were you thinking? Were you looking around like, what in the world am I doing here?
I remember Tony, the words of Tony were like, hey, we're gonna take you, but we don't know how long we're gonna keep you because Bobby is gonna come back out of the deal. So I don't know, you might be the guy that's gonna get sent down. So we are in Colorado. I was like, whatever, dude, I'm in the big leagues. This is a show, bro. I'm gonna enjoy it.
Ground ball, Perez will get it. Base hit Pujols, his first hit in the big leagues.
So I'm like 1 for 9 starting this season. We went through Arizona, and then that's where I tear it up. You know, I think I was like 8 for 14 with like a home run.
Schilling, Johnson,
yeah.
And that's
Armando Reynoso was my first home run against him. A little sinker up and in.
That ball hammered, and we have a tie game. First career big league home run. And after watching this kid in batting practice and that swing right there, it will not be nearly the last.
I had a great series, you know, there. And then, you know, the rest of history. Then we went there from St. Louis, and I've been up here, you know, for 20 years now.
1-2. Well hit into left field. Did he get enough? At the wall. Welcome to St. Louis, Albert Pujols. The first of many curtain calls.
All right, so we got Play Ball coming up Saturday, Albert Pujols Day, Monday, all day on the network. Harold, and look, just point blank, you put this guy's first 11 years in the big leagues, you can put those numbers up against literally anybody who's ever played this game. I mean, he's been that good.
The one thing that kind of gets overlooked is that he was a 13th round draft pick, and he went through 3 levels of the minor leagues in one season and then ended up in big league camp. I mean, Dan, to me, that's a story in itself. I could dive into more. He tells a phenomenal story about how he thought he got sent down and he actually didn't. So you've got to make sure you watch this. It's really great insight into Albert. But can you imagine, Dan, going through 3 levels of the minor leagues? Well, you might have done that yourself, you little superstar.
No, I didn't do that, Harold, but I will tell you this. The first time I saw Albert Pujols play in person, he reminded me of like George Brett, Robin Yount, Cal Ripken, Kirby Puckett, those guys that you watched, and right away your eye test said, this is a special player, and he's been that kind of a player for a long time, and he's on a one-way ticket straight to Cooperstown when he's done.
Yeah, Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, and Hammerin' Hank Aaron are the only 3 players in Major League Baseball history to have more than 3,000 hits, 600 home runs, and over 2,000 RBIs. Pretty small.
Fran, you can't get away with that easy, though, being a St. Louis guy. You know you were a Pujols fan. What was your moment?
Oh, come on. You know, I'm trying not to be so much of a homer, but no, I was really happy for him. Again, those first 11 years, put him up against anybody who's ever played this game. And glad he helped them win a couple of championships as well before he broke everyone's heart and headed out west, no doubt. And welcome back to MLB Tonight, presented by Camping World. The MLB The Show, the Players League, ESPN, and Fox have you covered through the quarters and the semis. The championship is on Sunday on ESPN. All right, have a great weekend, guys. Thanks for watching.